my name is Stephen Mace, and I would just like to show you the mink raft and trap that we use for Water Life Recovery East. And Water Life Recovery East is a project running in East Anglia which involves all of the counties, and the idea is to try and eradicate mink from East Anglia and mostly Norfolk and Suffolk. The idea is to try and get that region mink free. It's a bit of a pilot project to actually show us how doable it is and how much it's going to cost to potentially roll it out across the UK. Right, so the mink raft that we're using today is a recycled plastic mink raft, which is different to the old mink rafts that we would traditionally use that were made out of plywood. The plywood rafts obviously were wood, and when they were in the water they would delaminate over time, and they would only last about 5 years or so, and then they would need replacing completely. But with the new plastic mink rafts, they're much more durable and they're going to last a lot longer. In between the base of the mink raft is a piece of polystyrene which gives us a buoyancy so it can actually float in the water, and the edge of the mink rafts now are actually encased with a piece of plastic, so you can't see the polystyrene, and also the polystyrene isn't going to break up and get into the water system and cause problems there. So they're a lot more eco-friendly than what they used to be. And the old traditional mink rafts used to use a tracking pad in the middle of this tunnel, so that anything that passes through the tunnel would leave its footprints on the tracking pad as an identification, so that when you know that mink are passing through, you could then set a trap. However, with that old system, it was quite common that sometimes the mink rafts wouldn't get checked as regularly as we would like, which meant that any mink passing through, by the time the footprints were found, that mink could then be further down the river system and causing problems elsewhere. But the system that we use now actually means that the trap can be left in place permanently. And the reason for that is that we actually use a little box on our traps which relies on a mobile signal, and when the trap is triggered it will actually send you a text message and an email to your phone to tell you that the trap has been triggered. And the trap in question is just inside here, and as I said, it sits permanently on the mink raft and is ready and waiting for anything to come along. The mink trap that we're now using actually has what's called a remote device attached to it, and this device will actually tell us when the trap is triggered. And how this works is there is a little magnet here which will go on the remote device, and when the trap is triggered it will pull it off and then wake up this little box that will then send us a text message and an email to my phone and any volunteers as well. And we can also put as many people on this device as well, so that if a landowner has got any people who are helping out with dispatching and anything like that, we can actually add those people as well. So all we do to set the trap is we just lift this bar up here, which is called the locking bar. We get that up so far, and then we can push the door open. When the door is open, you always make sure that this cord is just pulled through and straight, and then you place the trigger bar, which is connected to the treadle of the trap, underneath the door, and you only go about 2 to 3 millimeters underneath the door. You don't go very far at all, so the idea is you want to keep this treadle plate as low to the ground as possible. And then once that is done, you then take the magnet and you then connect it to the little remote device, like so. When the magnet is on here, there's a little LED light in here which is now going to flash red, and that's going to flash red for about 40 to 60 seconds, somewhere around there. And while it's doing that, it's actually looking for a mobile signal, because these devices rely on a mobile signal. When it's found a mobile signal, the flashing red light is going to turn to a solid green, and this then indicates that it's found a mobile signal and that it's set, and that little green light will then go out after about 10 seconds, and this thing will go to sleep until the trap is triggered. If that flashing red light actually turns to a solid red, it actually means that the remote device has not found a mobile signal, and and then you cannot leave it set. You may need to move the mink raft and the trap to another location to actually get a better mobile signal. Right, so also with this device, it will actually wake up twice a day, so it can be set to any time, but we generally set it to wake up in the morning and the evening. When it wakes up, it will do a little handshake with the server, and this just checks to make sure that there's still a mobile signal and it's working. And if it's all working, it will just continue as normal. It doesn't notify or anything. However, if it finds that there is no longer a mobile signal because it may have dropped off for some reason, you can have things like vegetation grow over this in time, which will actually block the signal as well. So if it actually says that there's no signal when it does its handshake, it will actually text you with a message to say that there's a problem, can you please check this within 10 hours. However, the device will actually try and find the mobile signal itself, and if it does, it may mean there's no need to visit the site to actually check if anything's wrong if it does reconnect on its own. So when that's all set, the trap, anything that comes into the trap is going to trigger the trap, and this little magnet, as mentioned, is going to fly off, and then this is going to wake up again. It's going to find a mobile signal, and then it's going to send a text message and email to you. This little ball here has got some little holes in, if you can notice that. It's actually a little practice golf ball. And the reason why we use this and we suspend this from the top of the trap here is that we can actually put mink lure or mink scent into this little golf ball. And this will just help attract any mink into the trap, because the best thing to actually attract a mink is the smell of another one. So we actually put mink lure in this. This helps waft the smell around, but it also keeps the lure off of the base of the mink raft, because if you have any rain coming inside here, it can actually wash any lure away. So this just keeps it off of the ground as well. And that is the mink trap. Like I say, they're very reliable and they're a very good system for the project. Once the mink raft is in the water, we can then put the trap in, but I'll just show you. So all you do is you slide the trap into the box here. Just one thing I just want to mention is that on these mink traps, the entrance is actually reduced, and this is to stop any otters getting into the mink trap. And also, if I just show here on the mink raft as well, there's some doweling in the front here, which will also act as an otter guard, and this is because the company that makes this mink raft doesn't know what type of trap people are using. So if someone was to put a trap in here which doesn't have an otter guard actually physically on the mink trap, then the doweling will act as one for that as well. So then all we do is we slide this trap into the mink raft like so, and you have to be careful not to make it trigger as you slide it in, and you also want to make sure that you keep it fairly flat to the base of the mink raft when you slide it in, because if you don't, you might end up catching the magnet and knocking it off. So you just slide it in like so. And on these mink rafts as well, there is also a lip on the back here which will stop the trap actually sliding out into the water when an animal is inside it. Habitat is one of the most important things with placing the mink rafts, because if we don't have this in the right place, we're never going to catch a mink. So it's one of the key points to actually do is to pick the right spot. So to have a good field craft skill in placing the rafts is very important.